Oh boy, am I excited about this freaking card. UFC 308, guys. This is going to be up there this year, potentially one of the best cards of the year. It's not going to beat UFC 300, but on paper, this is phenomenal. Very straightforward. And if you're new here, I'm the MMA casual. I give you best bets, predictions, and I break down the fights. And it's great for you because you have the power. If you're a casual, you don't like the early prelims, you don't like this Carlos gentleman who's shadowed out. You have no idea who this guy is. Just fast forward. Just fast forward. You're going to get my breakdown for the main card. And I'm very opinionated on the main card. I think it's very straightforward, but I have some strong opinions and I want you to listen to them to give you some information so you can make the best bet for you. So either way, I appreciate all the support. I keep getting love comments about these videos, my breakdown videos. You guys want more of them? Here I am. But do me the favor and support me. Subscribe, comment, like. And as I go into this, the only thing I want to say is do not judge me on my pronunciation of some of these names because this is an Abu Dhabi card. So we're getting every freaking foreign fighter in the UFC on this card. I don't want to hear it from you. I don't want to freaking hear it. But here we are, just a couple of days away. Let's get right to it, guys. I'm not going to yap too much. Renat Fakhretdinov versus Carlos Leao. Carlos Leao coming in on short notice. And I put the odds page here. Renat coming in as a minus 270 favorite. Carlos a plus 220 underdog. And I showed you that because I just wanted you to see the line movement. Renat, when this fight was first announced, was like a minus 550 favorite. And look at that change. And I think it's warranted. I think these odds make a lot more sense. What I have here, I just want to break down this fight. Renat is going to look for the grappling. Renat is going to come in with short combinations. He's going to go for the level change. If this guy needs to, he's going to hold Carlos up against the cage the whole fight. He can have that control time, and he will do it. What I think happens here is just that. Now, Carlos, on the other hand, I'm not expecting him to have the performance of a lifetime. Coming in on short notice, you're in Abu Dhabi, time changes. It's not great for you. However, this is an explosive gentleman. This guy can finish the fight. We're looking at big strikes. He has a really wide stance. So I'm assuming his takedown defense is going to be a little better than maybe some of Renat's previous opponents. Pretty big guy. However, he could end this fight at any time. Do I think that happened? Not really, but the heavy-handed guy always has a chance in these fights, and I think there's always a possibility. But I am going Renat, and I do think this happens by unanimous decision. Now, if Carlos fades early because of the lack of preparation, don't get me wrong, Renat could get a finish here. He could find something on the ground, start ground and pounding. We could get some, hey, Carlos, you need to get some work in, and then they stop the fight. But I think Renat is the easy pick here. I like him by decision, but if you want to go money line, I think that's a good choice. I mean, it's minus 270. I'm not a favorite of those odds. I mean, I don't like going for odds that high usually. I wouldn't need, maybe you parlay him, but for me, not too much value here, but it's pretty straightforward. Renat should get the win here. Next up, Ismail Nardiev versus Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva, a real vet. He's coming off some losses. He's had some tough fights in the last few fights and in the last 2 years. And then Ismail, in my opinion, all-around fighter. Here, I think Bruno Silva's going to have the cleaner striking. He is going to have a striking advantage, but Ismail's going to be the smarter guy here. I think he has the wrestling advantage, and I think that's where he's going to go. I think he's going to try to circle around the octagon. He's going to be the more patient guy. He could get creative with striking. In film, you do see him throw a spinning back fist here and there. He gets a little excited. Do I think he's going to be stupid in this card? Not really. I think he's going to bring the IQ. I think he wants to win here in Abu Dhabi. Bruno Silva's more of a name than anybody he's fought before. I think it's pretty straightforward for him. When I look at the odds here, Bruno Silva coming in as a plus 150 underdog. Ismail coming in at a minus 180. I got to be honest with you. I do think Ismail wins this fight. Again, pretty straightforward. I think he wins in unanimous decision. I don't really see a finish here. I think that's fair. But Bruno Silva, the vet, the crafty vet, can get something done. I'm staying away from this. I'm not throwing it on a parlay. I'm not doing a money line bet. If you want the fight to go the distance, I think that's a solid bet. I don't have those odds. They aren't out yet. But now that I touched that topic, I'm doing something and I'm making a video on Instagram. Every fight where fight to go the distance or the over in rounds is anything minus 200 or less or plus money, I'm putting $10 on it just to do a test. Why? In the last 3 cards, I did the count and I have it around here. Long story short, 65% of the fights. So 23 out of 35 fights. So the last 3 cards, 307 and 2 fight nights, 65% of the fights have gone to decision. There's been real money there. I don't know if it's the new gloves. A lot of people are blaming the gloves, but I think there's some serious money there, and I think it's worth noting. And I'm gonna make a video on Instagram about what I'm doing and just my strategy, just to see if we make some money. But we're gonna go that way. Long story short, we're moving on. I want to get to the main card. A lot of you don't really listen to these breakdowns early for the fight, so let's get it moving. Farid Basharat versus Victor Hugo. Very straightforward. I'm a big Farid guy. Farid's coming in as a minus 675 favorite. Hugo's coming in as a plus 490 underdog. So what I'm going to say about Farid's a real smart fighter, in my opinion. When you watch film on this guy, what you could see is that he's very methodical. Everything's well planned out. He's going to be step by step to get to where he needs to be. And that's what he's doing for the takedown. This guy's hunting the takedown consistently. Is he going to put himself in harm's way for it? Not necessarily. He will circle around the octagon. He will avoid the brawl. He will be patient. He will not bring the volume to you until he has that window where he could work towards the takedown. And now working towards that takedown, again, methodical. He's very systematic, and it's beautiful. We're going to see some high level grappling here, and I think that's where we get some excitement. He's going to be my pick. So third favorite in a row. I don't like minus 675. I think that's freaking bananas. I wouldn't throw this guy on a parlay. I do like this fight to go the distance, but I think that money's not going to have much value either. But now, Victor Hugo plus 490. What can I say about Victor Hugo? He's going to get taken down here. I'm not too excited about his striking. He's going to get some clinch work in. When Farid gets him up to the cage, if he does, I think Victor's going to get some nice exchanges in. Is he going to finish him? Absolutely not. But now, when Victor gets taken down, this guy's spooky on his back. I think this guy's going to be hunting submissions, and I think that's going to be his game plan. The coaches have to tell him, Farid's going to get you, brother. You could avoid it a little bit, but Farid's eventually going to get you. And Farid, I like his tank. I think he'll be at it nonstop, even if there's rejections, even if Victor's constantly getting up. But I think once Victor's on his back, Farid's going to be able to control him. But what we're going to see a lot of sprawls, and we're going to see Victor working his way up. But in all of that, we're going to see like 4 or 5 submission attempts. And that is where Farid's going to have some danger. Now, do I think Farid's going to withstand all that? Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's where we have our little Hail Mary. If you want to take Victor Hugo money line, I'm not judging you. Plus 490 is ridiculous. I don't think this should be as spread as it is. I like Farid as a heavy favorite, but minus 675 is ridiculous. And if you really want something, Victor Hugo by submission, that's something. That's going to end up being like plus 700, plus 800. You got to throw some shit at that. You got to throw something. I don't mind. I might throw half a unit, quarter unit. I don't know. But I think Victor Hugo is going to get something. I think Farid wins. Hugo might get something. Next up, and now we get a little funny here. I love this picture. And I'm nobody to body shame, right? Who am I? I'm not sitting here with a six-pack. But when I explain to a friend that this guy on the right, Chris Barnett, is a lethal UFC fighter, I mean, I can't really say anything. How can I say that? Look at this guy, bro. This guy looks like a father, a 45-year-old father who's just slamming beers and enjoying Kentucky Fried Chicken all the time. Like, he looks like he's part of a Disney show. Like, he's a Disney dad. Who's the dad from That's So Raven? Shave this guy's head and he's a shorter That's So Raven dad and fatter. But this guy's crazy athletic, and he's fighting Kennedy Nesjuku. I'm glad I said that right, by the way. Kennedy Nesjuku coming in at the minus 750 favorite. Chris Barnett plus 525. Craziness. And when you see this matchup, it seems straightforward. You have a 6'5" powerhouse fighting at heavyweight, by the way. This is a heavyweight. Fighting a guy who's 5'9". And somehow I'm still worried. Guys, stay away from this fight. Kennedy Nesjuku has faded us before against OSP. Very different than Chris Barnett. But Chris Barnett is a fighter who fights from behind. He gets into situations, and somehow, all of a sudden, he still has energy, still has the cardio, starts applying pressure, lands a good shot. Oh, my God, you're on the ground. He took you down. He tripped you. Oh, shit, now you're in his range. You trip Kennedy Nesjuku, all of a sudden, he's 5'9". And Chris Barnett has a good fight. You know what I mean? And I say all this joking. I really do think Kennedy Nesjuku is going to catch Chris Barnett. I think there's a knockout here. I mean, I think this is Kennedy's comeback fight. A lot of people think that he's a fraud. They think he got fraud checked, which I'm not disagreeing with. But when you look at these fight styles, I think Kennedy Nesjuku's throwing a lot of teeps, some solid kicks, throws in some body shots, some knees, stays away. I don't think he's going to put himself in a bad position. Like Chris Barnett, there's no reason to get into this dogfight with this 5'9" guy. Like, for what? Keep the distance. The shot's going to land. Kennedy Nzechukwu has power. When the straight's there, you go through, pass his guard, go to sleep, brother. I think Chris Garnett's going to get slept. However, I'm not Kennedy Nzechukwu. I mean, minus 750 is ridiculous. There's no reason for any of that. You want to throw some money at an underdog? Throw it at Chris Barnett. You want to have some fun? Throw it at him. I mean, this guy's used to the adversity. He's used to coming from behind. He's a 5'9" heavyweight. It's ridiculous. But I have seen some people getting away from Kennedy Nzechukwu, and they have Chris Barnett winning this fight. Again, I don't agree with it, but that it is what it is. You know what? 3 rounds, 15 minutes. These guys, you never know. Fight to go the distance going to be plus money. I'm putting $10 on that because I'm telling you, maybe these gloves are it. So moving on. Abus Magomedov minus 142 favorite. These are weird odds, by the way. I got them from DraftKings today because they're the most up to date. And I just feel like a lot of people use DraftKings, so that's the route I went. And then Bruno Ferreira plus 120 underdog. Man, a lot of people taking Bruno Ferreira here. A lot of people. Powerful guy, heavy-handed, does have the power. Abus Magomedov, another guy that some people feel like he was fraud checked, but you got to see the competition he's faced. He took on Sean Strickland, and then you're going to judge him? Absolutely not. I mean, this guy's fought some real deals. Yes, he got a big push up in competition when he came into the UFC. I feel like they had the Magomedov name, and the UFC got excited. But come on, now you're giving him Bruno Ferreira? No, I'm taking Abus Magomedov. I think he's the better fighter. I do have some concerns with his cardio. However, I think he's going to be able to set the pace here, get what he wants, grapple when necessary. He survives the first round, doesn't get clipped. I think this is straightforward. I think he wins by unanimous decision. Again, control his cardio, utilize his jab, and I think he takes Bruno all the way. Now, the reason, obviously, we saw cardio issues in the past with Abus, but I think if he sets up his jab, he's going to set himself up. He has the range. He's 6'2". Our friend over here, Bruno, is 5'10", and I'm trying to look at the reach advantage, 6-inch reach advantage. I mean, it's there. Establish a jab, make Bruno uncomfortable. Don't let him set anything up. Good movement. I think Abus is fine. Now, when we get into the later rounds, I think Magomedov has an advantage as when he applies pressure, he's really uncomfortable. He made Sean Strickland real damn uncomfortable in their fight in the first round. He does that to Bruno, and Bruno fades. Bruno does not do well with pressure coming his way. Now, obviously, that's a double-edged sword because if Abus Magomedov applies pressure and he starts to fade, now Bruno has a window to beat him. So again, cardio control, utilize the jab, don't get overzealous. I think you need to break down Bruno. You slide to a decision victory as well. I like Magomedov all the way here. I'm probably going to parlay him. Minus 142 is great value for him. I think this line's going to move a lot. Mateus Rebecki, and see what I mean? Like give me a vowel. You know what I mean? Matikabek or a lobby or a lobby. Rolaby or Rulili. I'm just being an asshole. This guy's a real deal. I will say again, I'm not trying to body shame, but when humor sets it, I mean, you can't get more primitive than Arabai right here. You cannot have a more primitive face. There's so much face. There's so much face. It looks like a filter that you shrink the actual face, and there's just so much mass there. How do you have such a big face, bro? It's crazy. But that face is like almost like callous. You just made to take damage and move forward and come at you. And I'm being serious here. Rebecki plus 250 underdog. Orobai minus 310 favorite. I love these odds. I think they're really accurate. Wrestler versus wrestler. Here's my difference. Rebecki, explosive, coming out hot, looking for everything. Orobai, I don't think he has to survive. I don't think he's going to be threatened necessarily by Rebecki, but you know, when someone sets an uncomfortable pace, you're going to be set at a disadvantage. It can happen, but to me, Orobai is the better fighter. I think he's going to have no issues getting up if Rebecki's able to get him down. Good takedown defense. He's going to be able to strike with him, and I just think he's going to have more control of this fight. Now, don't be surprised Rebecki taking round one. Volume, a couple takedowns, looks explosive, maybe lands a clean shot. Again, the callous face is going to eat it. But then what happens is Rebecki fades into the fight. Rebecki has cardio issues. Rebecki's going to take damage. If Orobai is able to take him down in round two, oh man, we're going to get some ground and pound. We're going to get control time. And I think Rebecki's going to have a tough time getting up. Yeah. Right here. Keys. This is what I wrote. Forward pressure. Forward pressure after round one. Let Rebecki be explosive. Let him think he's finding a window. Stay active. Deal with his volume. Counter strike. Avoid the takedown. If you want the takedown, go for it, Arabai. But once round two comes, let's apply some pressure. Let's see how Rebeki's doing when he's fighting, moving backwards. Can he handle it? And I personally don't think he can. And I think this goes to decision too, which is crazy. I know I'm big on decisions now all of a sudden with these new gloves, but we do get a potential for a late finish here. So I'm not a fan of money line. Don't see much value in 310, but fight to go the distance, you could play with that one. Fight to go the distance, anything like plus money there, which I don't think it's going to be plus money, I would take it too. But I don't see Rebecca winning this fight. Next up, two vets who are fun to watch if you ask me. Two of my favorites. Jeff Neal minus 298, RDA plus 240. I agree with the odds. At first, actually, I was like, I kind of like RDA here. But when I start looking into it, if I look at these two fighters and I look at their last few fights, if there's someone I think is faded more, it's going to be RDA. It's safe to say RDA's competition is always top tier. I mean, this guy is always fighting the top of the division. But he's, to me, he is not in the division he should be in. He's not a real welterweight. He's really a lightweight. And because of that, I'm going to give the edge to Jeff Neal. I think Jeff Neal's more comfortable in this weight class. I think he belongs in this weight class. Who's the better striker here? I'm going to go with Jeff Neal. Who's the better grappler, wrestler? Probably the better mixed martial artist, if I'm being honest. It's going to be RDA, ex-champion. I think it's RDA. Both older gentlemen, both vets, both crafty. But I don't think RDA is coming in here and wowing us with some wrestling, taking down Jeff Neal, which, by the way, is almost impossible. Jeff Neal is not going to get taken down easily. And once he does, he's going to find his way up. And then that's just going to absolutely suck the life out of RDA. He's like, all right, I'm not taking this guy down. Let's strike. And while they're striking, I do give the edge to Jeff Neal. And because of that, I think Jeff Neal wins. I think he has the powerful hands. He's the more technical striker. He's clean. I just think he gets the best out of RDA. 5-inch reach advantage. I think it's there for him. And he pushes a pace. So if RDA for some reason starts to fade, which we've seen before too, but I think it has more to do with age, maybe not, just the weight class he's in now. If he begins to fade, I think Jeff Neal just kind of picks him apart. So I do like Jeff Neal here. And I'm not so caught up on it either, where I don't think RDA has value. I think RDA is valuable at plus 240 if you're an RDA guy. If you don't believe his age is affecting him, if you think he's looked good, if you think his matchup with Jeff Neal, if he can take him down, I mean, RDA takes down Jeff Neal, he might win a round off the bat. You know what I mean? If he could control him enough, start working some subs. But I just don't think he could get Jeff Neal to the ground. And because of that, I'm going Neal. Moving on. Another locked character. Rafael Sakara. I think that's how you say that. Ibo Aslan. Guys, this is the only fight that I will probably put the under on. Fight not to go the distance. Someone's getting slept here. Light heavyweight bout, 6'3", 6'3". Two guys who finished their opponents. The only thing I will say about Sakara is that we don't really know how he does with this level of competition. He does have finishes in other promotions. Now coming into the UFC, fighting someone who definitely wants to put people out and can put people out late, never loses his power. My only thing with Aslan is that he can get a little crazy, gets a little excited, can get a little loopy, does apply pressure, is very good. Rafael Sakara, on the other hand, he's gonna mix in the body a lot. And I think that's where we're gonna test Aslan, because if you get a good body shot on this guy, all of a sudden you might suck the life out of him, right? All of a sudden your cardio starts tanking. Maybe you're not as powerful. Maybe you don't want to apply as much pressure. You don't go for a flurry of punches because you're in fear of that liver shot or body shot, some teeps, whatever it may be. Even his leg kicks that could affect his mobility. To be honest with you, like I said, I'm not big on UFC debuts, and he hasn't been tested. So why am I going to go with him? Even though this is a pick'em, Rafael Sakara minus 112, Aslan minus 105. And sorry, I have a cough stuck. Holy hell. Man, even tearing up here. So I am taking Aslan. I think he gets a knockout win. I like the fight not to go the distance, and I like Aslan by knockout. I think those two bets are going to be for my premium subscribers, my exclusive subscribers on Instagram. I think it's straightforward. But this fight's not going the distance. I'll probably still do it though. Since it's plus money, I gotta throw the $10 just to test it out. Shara Magomedov, Armin Petrosian. Guys, we're starting the main card. It's 2 p.m. on Saturday, and all of a sudden, you got the Pirate back, someone who the UFC has taken and they're trying to grow. But for me, this is his first real test. And I do believe to a certain extent, some people have been disappointed with Shara Magomedov, Bullet Magomedov, because we expected this guy to come in, have this crazy striking, and start putting people out. And it's not what we've gotten. We've gotten Shara the decision Magomedov. And he does have one finish, but he has two decisions over guys, which probably should have finished. What I'm going to say about him is that his volume's ridiculous. His knockouts are ridiculous. I think his cardio has gotten better, but you know, we'll see how that goes. And then we have Armin Petrosian. So I'm actually going Armin here. And I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh man, this guy's the real casual. This guy's on something. But I think these guys actually level out in their striking. And I think Armin Petrosian is a little underrated here. And yes, he's coming off the loss, but he's very good. He's a very good kickboxer. I'm not going to say he's going to outvolume Shara Magomedov, but he's going to land a high percentage of shots. And I just think he's going to make Shara a little uncomfortable. I don't think Mr. Magomedov has dealt with a striker like Armin Petrosian. Am I completely taking a huge risk here? Fuck yeah. Shara could come out, land a good strike, or just outvolume him, walk into a 30-27 decision. Absolutely. But I go gut. And gut tells me Petrosian has a good chance of winning this fight. So I put here he's a tough test. I think he's a better striker, and what he needs to do is close the distance. I think you got to take away Shara's kicks, and once you take away Shara's kicks, now he gets a little uncomfortable. And when people have applied pressure, he gets hit, man. Shara's defensive striking is not great. It's not great. So if Petrosian's able to get away from those kicks, they don't affect him too much. He closes the distance. I think he can land some powerful strikes, and we might see some damage from Magomedov. And just because of that, I'm excited about this fight because I think this is his first real test. You know, some people have gotten, better rounds than him, and his grappling was tested a little bit. I think this is straight striking, and I don't see him shooting for anything or either of these guys shooting for anything unless they're in trouble. So Shara Magomedov minus 162 favorite. Armin Petrosian plus 136. I'm taking the plus money. I think this is my underdog of the week. I have two underdogs of the week. The other one's coming up as well, but I think that's pretty straightforward. Magomed. Oh, that's not the fight yet. Oh, Lerone Murphy, Dan Ige. Undefeated Lerone Murphy, by the way. Dan Ige, durable as hell. That fight with Diego Lopez, my God. Literally called that guy. He's at home, just nearby. They're like, hey, man, you think you could swing by and fight? And he's like, yeah, of course. That was crazy. Honestly, that guy deserves so much respect. However, we're getting a little overzealous here. We're getting a little too excited. We got to fight the top of the division to get to the title. But Diego Lopez got the win, and now you're dealing with the up-and-comer Lerone Murphy, who's an absolute killer. Straight up. I'm on this train 110%. And I love Danny Gay. Danny Gay's durable. Danny Gay's a vet. Dangerous dude. But Danny Gay has taken his fair share of losses. And we do see the windows of improvement. Do I think he's getting better? Hell yeah. That Diego Lopez fight, his last couple fights, he's looked good. But Murphy's just a different beast. And Murphy's getting better. And Murphy's fighting better competition. And if you ask me, Murphy has it all. Murphy has every tool. I think Murphy is craftier than Danny Gay. He's going to blend in grappling. He's going to throw knees from the clinch. He's going to hit Danny Gay with a weird elbow. He's going to just throw some combinations where Danny Gay gets hit by 5 punches from the body to the head, back to the body, boom, taken to the fence, 1 minute of control. Murphy's going to be all over this guy like white on rice. What I will say is Danny Gay is durable. And I would not be surprised if this fight goes to decision and maybe we get a split. We've had a lot of those lately. Maybe it's a closer fight than I'm expecting. I wouldn't doubt it. I give Danny Gay his respect, but I'm on the Murphy train and I think it's pretty straightforward. He's coming in as a minus 285 favorite. Danny Gay plus 230 underdog. And there is some value in that underdog. But like I told you, Murphy to me is just cleaner, faster, stronger. He's going to be one step ahead of Danny Gay. Straight up. Straight up. It's just that I'm that confident with Murphy winning. Maybe I throw him in a parlay. And fight to go the distance? Hell yeah. Murphy's not really a finisher. Danny Gay too. I mean, we saw. I mean, they go to decision in most of their fights, and I like it. I just big on Murphy. He's gonna mix it up really well. He has the better tools, and then yeah, Danny Gay to me, the problem is durability. I think that's the biggest threat to Murphy, and that's gonna be a test to him. Next up, we're getting there, guys. I know you want the co-main and the main. I know you want it. You won't get it. Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic, whatever you want to say, pronounce. Guys, Alexander Rakic is getting fed to Magomed Ankalaev. Let's get something clear. Magomed Ankalaev did not have a draw to Jan Blachowicz. Magomed Ankalaev should have been crowned the champion when that occurred. The UFC didn't like the performance. They thought he was boring. Now they're giving Khalil Roundtree a first title shot from being ranked like number 9 or some shit instead of Magomed. It's a little ridiculous. I think the UFC is staying away from this guy. But if you're gonna put Alexander Rakic in front of him, holy hell, you're gonna get a performance from Magomed. And don't be surprised if you get a finish. Magomed's a killer kickboxer. Heavy kicks. I think he's gonna chew up just like an axe on a freaking wooden tree. On a tree. I don't know why I said wooden tree. On a tree. He's going to chop up Rakic, and he's just going to destroy him. Rakic, I do like the guy. Fun striker. I love his fight at UFC 300 against Hiri. He faded. He got caught. To me, all of a sudden, now I see him as this chinny guy. Later on, could get a little chinny. Magomed Ankalaev's all around good, man. This guy is championship level. This guy should have probably been the champion. It should have been, yes. That was not a draw. And I think this is what's next for Alex Pereira. It's Magomed Ankalaev. And the thing about him is, I think he's a better striker here. May have some hidden power in his kicks. But for whatever reason, if Alexander is somewhat of a threat, we could grapple. This guy could hold you down for 15 minutes. No doubt. Hop on his back. He'll find something. Some ground and pound. Make him uncomfortable. This is straightforward to me, guys. He's a superior fighter. I don't think this is crazy. Rakic plus 280 underdog. I don't take that money for the life of me. Magomed Ankalaev minus 355 favorite. Obviously, no value there. I think this can go the distance. I think this will go the distance. So I think there's money there. I got to see what the line is, 1.5 or 2.5 rounds, probably 2.5, and I say it goes over. I think there's good money there. Magomed by decision. I'm going to have quite a few fighters by decision. I think I'm going to get my money's worth, but we'll see. You got to subscribe to find out. All right. Robert Whitaker, the Whitakernator, versus Khamzat Chimaev, the most inactive superstar I've ever seen. This guy pulls out of every fight, every driveway he sees. He's always ill, and let's be honest, he's never fought a real middleweight. And by what I'm saying, you can probably see where I'm leaning here. Guys, Robert Whitaker is the top of the division. Robert Whitaker, with a win here, could cement himself as the best gatekeeper of all time. Literally put a crown on that gentleman. You think Dustin Poirier is a gatekeeper? Give it to Rob, bro. But we're going to see a test. Let me be clear. Let me not be disrespectful here. Khamzat Chimaev is a dog. He's an absolute animal. And today he comes in as a minus 245 favorite. Well-deserved. I understand the hype. An absolute killer, undefeated, hasn't been tested, really. Or has he? When I look back at his fights, I think about Kamaru Usman, I think about Gilbert Burns. And what I see in that fight is Khamzat Chimaev actually having some trouble with high level of competition. Yes, Gilbert Burns, great grappling, maybe a submission threat. Depends on who you are, because not really a fighter who's finishing people with submissions. Kamaru Usman, one of the best welterweights to ever live, killer wrestler, but he's smaller. Everyone's saying Khamzat went in there and he gave Kamaru Usman a huge problem. Yeah, he gave an 175-pound man, while Khamzat Chimaev's a real middleweight, a hell of a problem. So now we find ourselves with Khamzat Chimaev being welcomed in the middleweight division by Robert Whitaker. Because don't forget, Kamaru Usman came in to the middleweight division off of like 7 days notice, maybe 14. I might be talking nonsense. You know, coming off a freaking loss, it made no sense for him to fight at 185 and to fight Khamzat Chimaev, who was already in camp. It was just crazy. And there was more details. I remember I gave out so many points when that fight came out. I was like, this makes no sense for Usman. But it was a fraud check opportunity. Now, he got through it. What I'm going to say about that fight is that it was extremely close. I think Usman proved the point that Khamzat Chimaev is not a god. God kings can bleed. You know what I mean? It wasn't what we expected. We thought Chimaev's going to steamroll this guy. Short notice on a 170-pound fighter. He's going to steamroll him at 185. It's not what happened. It's not what happened with Gilbert either. Gilbert gave him the fight of his life, and it was a close fight. I could have seen the Gilbert fight being split. Usman could have been split. Usman really survived the first round, and then Hamzat began to fade. And guess what, guys? This is a 5-round fight. A 5-round fight. Robert Whitaker is as good as they come. He is as good as they come. And if you ask me, it is going to be hard or as hard to take down Robert Whitaker as it is Usman, even though Usman is, the superior wrestler, but he's a smaller guy. Robert Whitaker is going to be so hard to take down. Do I think Hamzat's going to do it? Of course he is. He's going to get him down. And in the beginning, if Robert Whitaker makes it past round 1, I am very confident that he wins this fight. Very confident. Robert Whitaker is going to outlast him with the cardio. Hamzat Chimaev's going to fade. Whitaker's going to start picking his shots. Whitaker has power. Again, Hamzat's going to be getting hit by a real middleweight. He's crafty. He's a veteran. He's going to be making the right choices. I think this is straightforward. Hamzat wins in round number 1, or Robert Whitaker becomes the best gatekeeper of all time. It's that simple. I can't see Robert Whitaker finishing Hamzat Chimaev. I can't see an absolute dogfight going to round number 5, where in the last 2-3 rounds, Hamzat couldn't even land a takedown. He was desperate. He would shoot, and Robert would push him off. I could see that absolutely. And the lines and the videos I'm seeing and the people just doubting Robert Whitaker is absolutely mad to me. Absolutely mad. So, guys, with that being said, Robert Whitaker plus 200 underdog versus Hamzat Chimaev, who's minus 245 in this fight. I'm taking it. Maybe I'm a little biased. I'm a huge Robert Whitaker guy, but I'm taking it. I think this is an underdog pick that's unexpected. It's one of those that it's like, hey, casual, what are you thinking? Until it happens. And again, first round is the round to watch. Hamzat with a finish, or Robert Whitaker's taking this kid for a ride. There it is. I said it, and I want to hear your comments. But with that being said, I'm going to move on. Ilia Topuria, Max Holloway. Ilia Topuria is the truth. It's that simple. This kid is as good as he seems. I mean, you have debatably one of the best featherweight, not debatably. It's either him or Aldo in our book, right? Aldo or Volk are the best featherweights of all time. And he steamrolled him. He caught him. Just too much power. Do you remember what this guy did to Josh Emmett? Just absolutely broke him down. He didn't finish him, but just, come on, bro. 10-7 round. This kid is the real deal. Let's be clear. Max Holloway, on the other hand, this guy's only getting better in my book. He's only lost to Volk in the last few years. He's killing top competition. He's as durable as they come. Nobody can knock this guy down. This guy went 5 rounds with Justin Gaethje. And then, of course, a little more hoopla, because in the last second of a 5-round fight to co-main UFC 300, he put Justin Gaethje to sleep, which had never been done before. I mean, the story is ridiculous. I mean, this kid earned his shot. But now we're moving down to 145 for Max Holloway. So we're a little weaker. Yeah, we're used to it. He's fought at 145 for a long time. But you're dealing with this up-and-comer who's an absolute killer. And I'm going to tell you something. For me, Max Holloway doesn't put out Ilia Topuria. He's going to have to do the same thing he did with Justin Gaethje. Slowly break him down. We're going to need 5 rounds of that. 4 or 5 rounds. Championship rounds is where Max Holloway is really going to look good. But in the first 3 rounds, Ilia Topuria is the biggest threat Max Holloway's ever fought. That's not an exaggeration. Max Holloway's in deep water for 3 rounds. And guys, if Ilia Topuria wants to, he can grapple. He could probably submit Max Holloway. Everyone's like, what's wrong with this guy? Is he on crack? Maybe. But I really do believe that. Is he going to? No. I believe Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria said, I'm going to stand in the middle of the octagon. You guys are going to get the best 10 seconds of fighting you've ever seen in your life. Bold statement. Maybe it's a trap. Maybe he's getting into Max's head. But I believe this kid's down. This kid's boxing is ridiculous. And the strength he possesses at 145 is absolutely scary. If Max Holloway is fighting backwards and he gets pushed into the cage like Volk did, which Volk was like, I knew I couldn't get into that position, but he got trapped into it. Ilia Topuria's footwork, his strikes. If Max Holloway finds himself up against the cage in a dogfight, Max Holloway's going to sleep for the first time ever. And I'm saying that here. I'm probably going to throw some nice money at Ilia Topuria by knockout. I'm not joking. I think that could really happen here, guys. I'm so freaking serious, and I'm pretty freaking confident. Max Holloway is going to bring the volume. And maybe There's always a puncher's chance. He catches Ilya, who's been caught before, who's been dropped. But in my opinion, this kid is just too good. He's too hungry. He's in his prime. Ilya Topuria is the truth. And for me, we see it in the first 3 rounds. In the first 3 rounds, Ilya Topuria finishes Max Holloway. And let me hear it in the comments, because I know a lot of you are going to hate that. A lot of you are loving Max here. If you love Max that much, plus 190 is the move. This fight to go the distance is going to be at plus money. Do I think this goes over 25 minutes? Over 15? Hell no, bro. These guys are going in there to kill each other, but you never know. Ilya Topuria, minus 230. I like it. I might parlay it. I'll see. But Ilya Topuria is the truth, guys, and I think he gets it done. Long story short, I'm looking at the time. I've been yapping for 35 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. It does a huge deal for me if you subscribe. I'm trying to get this out to you more and more, trying to make this entertaining, trying to talk bets and predictions. I appreciate each and every one of you. Honestly, go check out my Instagram. All love from the MMA Casual. You have a good one.